If Erwin was humanity's last hope and Captain Levi was its strength, then Commander Erwin was humanity's brain. Even at first glance, you can tell that this man's eyes have a different glint. Even though the way reality was portrayed hinted a subtle end of humanity, there was little to no hope for those who ventured outside the walls. Freedom was an illusion, and what existed outside the walls was a complete mystery. For Erwin Smith, everything just raised further questions. Even in the face of all these dilemmas, he never stopped thinking. As we saw in the third season, Commander Erwin's curiosity for the truth first arose when he asked his father, "How do we know if there is really no human life outside the walls?" His father waited until after he was done with the class to tell his son what he thinks. He told him how the king may have altered the memories of everyone so that he can control them better. This also explains why there are no records of history from before humans started living inside the walls. Because if this wasn't the case, the first generation would have just passed down the history to their offspring. To the young and naive Erwin Smith, hearing all of this was eye-opening. His thirst for truth exponentially outweighed anything else on his mind. But he knows at that time he was still naive. He shared his father's theory with his friends. This little carelessness eventually ended with his father getting tortured to death. Later, Erwin joined the training corps and even became friends with this guy named Niall. He also shared what he knew with him. During this time, both Erwin and Niall fell in love with the same girl. However, Erwin gave up on her, as his mind was already too preoccupied with learning the truth. His thirst for seeking the truth always outweighed anything else in life, no matter how much time passed by. Niall, on the other hand, later married that girl. As for Erwin, the moment he became part of the Survey Corps, he stopped sharing his father's theory. At that time, Erwin realized something important. While everyone was fighting for the sake of humanity, he alone was fighting for himself. Be that as it may, Erwin's charisma and adaptability eventually caught the eye of the higher-ups, and before he knew it, he was already commanding other soldiers. Now guys, there's an Attack on Titan OVA called No Regrets. You should definitely check it out if you haven't already. It highlights how Erwin and Levi came together. Anyways, it was only a matter of time before Erwin's leadership skills became so apparent that he became the 13th commander of the Survey Corps. But that was only the beginning. Even after all these years, Erwin was still nowhere near to learning the truth. Just what are these Titans? Where do they come from? What exists outside the wall? And most importantly, are there really no humans left outside the walls? The answers to these questions always seem so distant, but then Eren entered the scene. In the Battle of Tross district, as both Armored and the Colossal Titan ravaged the scene by letting Titans loose inside the walls. For the first time in forever, a Titan raised hands against another Titan. And later, that Titan helped humanity earn their first victory by sealing off the hole in the Tross district. For Erwin, this was a step forward. He instantly recognized Eren's worth, even though the other higher-ups saw him as a potential threat. Not to mention, the fact that Eren's basement in the Shinakashina district may be holding some unprecedented truths about the world was too difficult to ignore. And then, with the fact that a human can turn into a Titan, with just this single piece of information, mysterious events that were happening started to make sense. Through Armin's help, the female Titan was identified. But even though Erwin's plan to capture her was genius, the Survey Corps failed. At the very last moment, she called out to nearby Titans and managed to escape. This was a huge loss for the Survey Corps. They lost a serious number of soldiers, including the elites of the Levi squad. Yet, they had nothing to show for it. Now, when most would have panicked, Erwin was already thinking of his next move. Even though he had to answer the higher-ups, he knew the most important thing to do now was to capture the female Titan. And how did he do that? By cornering her in the Tross district. The clash of Titans happened and the female Titan was captured. But at what cost? A large number of people died, and even though they had captured her, they still were not any closer to the truth. Or at least, that's what everyone thought. For Erwin, in his heart, he knew humanity is making progress towards the truth at an astounding rate. Just like that, the identities of the Armored and the Colossal Titan also came into light. Though they escaped by kidnapping Eren and Ymir, Erwin together with the scouts rushed after them. Because to Erwin, it is an absolute fact that without Eren, there is no hope. He lured all the Titans to Reiner, told his soldiers to advance even when his arm was literally in a Titan's mouth.
そこだ進め
And then at the end of the second season, when it finally became apparent that the real identity of Titans is humans, Erwin's face lit with a smile. Slowly but surely, things were finally starting to make sense. But that was only the start. Later, he tricked the government into submission. He made sure Historia became the next queen, all for the sake of learning the truth that is supposedly residing in Eren's basement. And then, during the return to the Shinigashina arc, Commander Erwin decides to retake Wall Maria. Captain Levi is concerned about his safety now that he only has one arm, but that means nothing to him. All that he seeks is to learn the truth. However, even though everything was planned, the appearance of another intelligent Titan as well as Zeke's uncanny wits were unexpected. The scouts are cornered, there's hardly any hope for survival. Even Captain Levi is losing his cool, but not Erwin. Even in this difficult situation, he somehow came up with a plan that ensures humanity's victory. He just asked Levi to make the decision for him. This was the grave moment, guys. Erwin never hesitates after making his decision, but now that he had to give up his dream of learning the truth, he asked Levi to make the decision for him. So it happens. With charisma enough to send chills down a man's spine, and words that are enough to inspire people to charge right into their deaths, Commander Erwin speaks. He makes it perfectly clear that this is the best shot the scouts have. He also explains the meaning of why all of them chose to stick with the scouts.
我々はここで死に次の聖者に意味を託すそれこそ唯一この残酷な世界に抗う術なのだ兵士を怒れ兵士を叫べ
And by the time he is done talking, you see all the scouts charging right toward the Beast Titan like the warriors they are. You see, guys, learning the truth was more important to him than his arms or legs. Heck, it was even more important to him than humanity's victory. That is why he never flinched, not even in the face of despair itself. Even when the armored Titan and Commander Erwin were standing right in front of each other, it was Erwin who had the stronger presence.
Erwin Smith. いや迷うな。先に殺すのは馬だ。
The man was just built differently. In the end, he may be a devil, but he was a devil with a dream. And Flock acknowledged that. Flock knows humanity needs a devil to survive. That's why he held Erwin in such high regards. And now he sees that devil in Eren. Erwin Smith's character added an extra layer to charisma over Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan just wouldn't have been the same without him. That day, Erwin died, but the scouts won, and that victory resulted in them learning the truth of this world. It's sad that Erwin wasn't there with them when the scouts learned the truth, but my man deserves his fair share of respect. So there you go, guys. This was the story of Commander Erwin, his beginning and his end. I am sure you have a lot to say about this, so feel free to share your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to like the video if you did, and subscribe if you're new here. It is always appreciated. With that said, as always, I'm the Bearded Saiyan. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.